everyone, welcome to the 24.3 workout recap analysis. It's a doozy. You can tell by our spread of recovery drinks here. This is a little bit of a spicy one, a good way to end the open season. Challenging workout, 2 movements, 24.3. What is the workout?
So we start, I keep wanting to change it to 10 rounds and 5 of everything, but it's 5 rounds, 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull-ups, 95 for the guys, 65 for the ladies. You get a 1-minute break. I like to say you get a 1-minute break. Yeah.
If you want to call it
nice,
that.
Yeah. And then it goes into 5 rounds of 7 thrusters and 7 bar muscle-ups. The weight goes up to 135 for the guys and 95 for the ladies.
Yeah, and then our scaled version for today, a little bit of a newer movement for some, the jumping chest to bar pull-up. So you're going to set that up where you're 6 inches below from the top of the head to the pull-up bar. You're going to be able to extend the arms, jump, pull your chest up to the bar. And then the second movement is a traditional pull-up. Weight is adjusted 45 for the ladies on the first bar, 65 on the second bar. For the men, it's 65 on the first bar, 95 on that second bar. So a tough workout for everyone. When you saw this one released, what were your initial thoughts?
Just kind of like, oh, I mean, it's a little bit, we can't get through an open without thrusters and chest to bars. So I wasn't like shocked by it or anything. It was more just like, okay, like this is what we're going to do and we'll see what happens. I have no disillusions that I was going to finish this workout in any sense. So I wasn't concerned about that. It was just more like, all right, let's just put our best effort forward with the fitness that we have.
Yeah. I felt like we knew it was coming type of approach of, we had not seen anything on the rig. We had not squatted. So in your head, you're already like, we're going to do something gymnastic. We're going to do something squatting related. So thrusters and chest to bar come to mind. And then you threw those muscle ups in there as well. It is an aggressive time cap for most. And I would say strategy wise, different depending on where you're at with your gymnastics, whether you've got muscle ups, whether you don't have muscle ups. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the video back and we'll talk a little bit about some of our strategy, what some of our goals were.
Yeah.
We even have a guest appearance from Sister Blair today.
She's my sister,
not like
sister.
A nun. Yeah. So you'll get a chance to watch how they attack the workout and then how I'm taking on the workout. So we jump in here. We start with 5 rounds of 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull-ups. What was your game plan for the thrusters?
So for me, my thrusters, I know this, are very smooth and controlled. I just can't seem to hit a faster gear with them. So I know that they take me a while without breaking. So I was just going to go straight through. For me, breaking them up would not have helped me in the long run, and it would have just taken more time. So I was like, you know what, we just got to knock these out. And for Blair and myself, we are going for a tie break time. We're not going for reps. So it's a little bit different of an approach than to what you were doing.
Yeah. So my strategy for this one was I wanted to give myself a chance to potentially finish this workout. So I knew that the second half was going to be very taxing, but also I needed to give myself enough time to try. So my strategy for the first section here was to treat it like an EMOM of trying to complete 1 round each minute, which would put me at a 5-minute finishing mark. And I was breaking everything up from the get-go. I actually really like thrusters. So a thought crossed my mind of, do I hang on for 10s? But I was like, whatever I can do to give my shoulders, triceps, and everything a break to give myself a chance at the second round. So I was going 6 and 4 on those thrusters. And then I was also going 6 and 4 on the chest to bar pull-ups.
Yeah. And for you, you knew you were going to do way more thrusters and way more pulling. So you have to keep that in mind. For Blair and myself, we were going to top out at those thrusters. So it wasn't as big of a deal for us to make sure that we broke those up.
Yeah. And so that would be my first tip for all of you is figure out how far into this workout you think you're going to get. If you just got your muscle ups or this might be your first attempt at a muscle up, I would encourage you to go fast on the first round, because even if you finish and you're a little bit gassed, you'll still most likely have enough time to recover to get some good attempts in at muscle ups or chip away at singles on the back half of this.
Yeah. And then for the gymnastics, you're much more proficient and efficient at your gymnastics. So you can break those up however you need to. For Blair and myself, it's a little bit more work. Blair is coming back from a little bit of an injury, so she was breaking them up for that reason. And then myself, my chest to bar just are not great. and I tend to avoid them. Avoid the things you need to work on. So I knew I would have to do smaller sets to maintain good form because I didn't want to miss any. I didn't want to waste any reps here.
Yeah. So for our athletes who the kipping chest to bar is going to be their style for today, what are some of the things that you either like to think about or that you like to coach up athletes on to help them get those good reps in while staying as efficient as possible?
Yeah, I like to work on, in my brain, I'm thinking about maintaining a good shape, right? I don't want to be getting all wormy underneath that bar. The tighter the shape is, the more efficient the movement's going to be. So making sure I maintain that hollow body. And I mean, I'm doing a big, ugly Superman kip, but here we are.
And I like to think for athletes with the chest to bar is we're going to go a little bit wider with that grip. That typically helps to shorten the range of motion just a little bit, but also usually gives us a little bit more mobility, I would say, to get the chest up to the bar. If you're somebody who stringing together kipping chest to bar pull-ups is tough, fast singles is a great strategy here where you jump up, nice big kip, pull that chest to the bar and just drop straight down and relax the grip.
Yeah.
So what you'll find is with it being 50 chest to bar, that is a lot of reps. And most likely the first round will feel pretty good. And you'll notice by 2, 3, getting into 4, those arms are going to start to burn with the combination of the thrusters.
Yeah. And it's really, it's not just the arms, it's that whole core section because you're supporting that bar up and overhead when you do the thruster and you're holding onto the weight in the bottom of the squat. And so as the core goes, it's a lot harder to maintain a solid position to be able to use that kip.
So let's talk about the scaled division because I had a chance to work with Courtney from Rebel PT. We had a chance to coach some of our athletes in the movement today. What were some of the things you noticed with that scaled version, which is a jumping chest to bar, a little bit different for some athletes? And I think they're going to be surprised at how challenging it is to hit the standard of chest to bar, arms extended at the bottom.
But so first thing on our end as coaches, when we set them up for that scale in class, because we use it a lot, we like to use those jumping pull-ups, and I encourage jumping chest to bar as well, is that we need to work on where the height of the bar is. I think we've been making it a little too short because now it's just a little bit out of reach. So a big problem is a lot of athletes are pulling straight down, and we need to have that pull back slightly as well. Getting those shoulder blades in there to pull back and actually open up the chest and get it to the bar. Because if you're pulling down, the shoulders actually kind of block the chest, and you can't get the chest to the bar. So really being able to pull down and back is going to be helpful for that scaled athlete.
So one of the things is make sure you get that measurement dialed in, 6 inches from top of the head to the bar. And then what I noticed was we need a more aggressive jump with the legs. You get to use those legs, so take full advantage of that. The moment we try and turn this into a strict pull with those elbows pointed towards the floor, it's going to be really hard to get your chest to the bar. And it's going to be really hard to knock out a lot of reps for the jumping chest to bar. So round 1, or the first 5 rounds, I should say, actually went almost exactly according to plan. 458 for me, very happy with that. Immediately went to try and sit down. I would say it was fatiguing, but I actually didn't feel blown up at this point. So I felt like I put myself in a good position here. When we finish that first 5 rounds, you get that 1 minute of rest. So find some kind of a recovery position, maybe grab some water, chalk up. It goes faster than you like, but at least just giving yourself a chance to take a couple big, deep breaths, reminding myself we got to start under the bar and then transition out to the thrusters. I had the same game plan for heavy thrusters as I did for the first set, which is 4-3 on the thrusters, and the muscle ups to me were going to be the limiter, and I was going to break those up even more so and go 3-2-2, hoping that I could hold consistent sets with consistent short breaks. You'll find that the reps stayed pretty consistent. The breaks got a lot longer as we got into it. So as you're getting near the end here, are you thinking put the pedal down, get a good tie break time, and just allow the rest and whatever else is going on to kind of carry you through? Or what were your thoughts as you got into that 4th and 5th round?
It was, hey, you're doing pretty good here. You stuck with Blair, which I kind of knew I would do. And then when I saw that she was resting a little bit more, that older sister came out in me, and I said, all right, let's get through this and let's beat her.
Oh, yeah. Did you have a goal time for this first piece, or just kind of wanted to see how it felt?
Sub 10. I think we both kind of talked about that. That gave us a pretty good cushion to get through 2 minutes around. I didn't know how well these chest bar were going to go. And 1 round, my hands were slipping pretty good. So I was like, oh, this might not be great. So once they started to feel good, I did some bigger sets there at the end. But yeah, when I saw her resting a bunch, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
this looks fun.
Yeah.
But it's always nice because you were way out of reach. So I'm really glad she did it with us. And I knew she would be tough if I didn't keep my my wits about me.
Yeah. So that first round for me, going with the 4-3, 3-2-2 approach, right at a minute and a half, which is exactly what it needed to be. The problem is when I finished that round, I immediately went, oh no. Like that felt super effortful to go a minute and a half for a full round. And then the idea of doing 4 more rounds of that. So at this stage, you start playing those mental games of like, we still got 7 minutes on the clock. You've just got to keep moving here and just keep breaking things up, accumulating reps. Is there a point in time where you would encourage an athlete, hey, we just got to get in the fast singles here. We just got to keep that bar, keep that chest to bar moving as quick as we can?
Yeah, when that, especially if they're stringing them together, when that second or third rep is looking like an almost miss, then it's time to be like, let's not find a miss. Like that's not fun. Mentally, it's pretty challenging. So we want to make sure we don't get to the miss.
Yeah, I'd say as soon as we work to failure, especially if we're not in that final round, that's probably a good indication we're kind of pushing that threshold a little bit too much. And then the other thing you could potentially notice, and whether it's your judge or you, is how long are those rest breaks taking? If those rest breaks are bleeding into like 30 or more seconds between picking up the bar, or jumping up on the rig, then maybe that could be an indication, hey, let's go for some fast singles. The thought definitely crossed my mind here with the muscle ups. I was talking to Emily after, and I don't know why, for some reason, the first rep is very effortful. Just like the jumping up, the getting a big swing, getting your hips on top of the bar. The second rep tends to feel a little better. So I like the idea of stringing them together, but I mean, these rest breaks start to get a little long. Even the idea of just doing 3-2-2 here.
I mean, I took over a minute just to get my knee wraps off.
Yeah. I would say at this stage in the game for me, triceps were definitely fatiguing. Out of all the parts of the body that were tired, legs from the thrusters, arms and shoulders from the thrusters and chest to bars, my triceps really were blowing up. And so it was a breathe heavy and a tricep heavy workout for me personally.
Yeah.
So for our athletes who are doing scaled, if they get through the jumping chest to bar, they move on to the heavier barbell, but then they also have now a traditional pull-up. And this pull-up can be any variety. So we can go, with a strict, you can go kipping, you could attempt the butterfly, but you could go with that cross grip, or you could go with like the supinated grip, as long as you're extended at the bottom and can pull up. So for our athletes who might be working to get that first pull-up, and we're trying to...
my arm turned over before I even pulled.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, just a small disclaimer. Sorry to interrupt. I haven't done muscle ups in a year and a few months. I don't do them because it hurts my shoulder, so I just avoid them like the plague, and I only pull them out when I have to. So you're going to see a lot of chicken winging here, and I do not suggest anybody else do this. I wouldn't coach it like this, but this is how I get myself over the bar, and this is how I got my 7 muscle ups.
Yeah.
But my shoulder hurts right now. It's like creeping up my neck. Like I don't feel good.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about that at all.
There we go. Yeah. So there's the sense of accomplishment from doing a first pull-up, first chest to bar, a heavy thruster, and the open is a great time to experience some of those big wins. It's also usually an indication of if we've been practicing some skills, working on some drills, things like that. It's hard to just pull it out if you've never been practicing or working on it. So that's just a heads up to the athletes who we hope you get your first muscle up or first pull up with this particular workout, and it gives you that chance to do it. And for those of us who are working on, getting as deep as we can into this workout, find that strategy that's going to work best for you. So we're starting to get into the back part of the workout here, which we've got just over 3 minutes to go, and it just felt like time. Like it was this weird combination of like slowed down, but also was like going really fast, where you were like, wow, we're almost done with the workout. Maybe not as far as I would have liked to be, but these rest breaks were just like, I need the time. Like to get up there and do the work was very effortful.
Yeah, I felt the same. Watching myself back and how long it took me to take off my knee sleeves and all that, I'm like, well, maybe if I had done that, I would have gotten a few more thrusters. But it was just like, I think I right now I'm in my head so much. Like it was a lot of self-talk. I missed a few, and it was just like that one, and it's just like It was tough.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And Blair has not gotten a muscle up
Mhm.
yet, so this is her attempting it, and she's close. I mean,
Yeah.
she's has the strength, has all the requirements. It's just about putting some of the technique and the pieces together. There's a couple that she got pretty close.
Mhm.
You know, and if you're a coach out there, as you're watching your athletes work through this, it's a great chance to be the cheerleader, but also you can try and give them some of those tips and helping them out here.
Yeah. Oh, that's 2 misses. Look at me go.
And what
That
you'll
was a little
probably notice too,
self-contemplation there.
yeah, what you probably will notice too is when we start to fail reps, the effort it takes is just as much, if not greater, than actually
Yeah.
accomplishing the reps. So it does take that time to recover.
Yeah, it was a lot of like, hey, let your feet get up and all this stuff. And I haven't been really coached on a muscle up ever. I just kind of like figured it out,
Mhm.
and that's why they look like that. So when I do coach much better form than that, because that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, and as my triceps are blowing up, something I'm thinking about here is
Yeah.
big guy, big gymnastics. I'm trying to use my hips as much as I can to pop
Mhm.
up high, and then I try and use this sort of, I call it like a backswing, but when my belly gets on the bar, I let my feet swing back to provide that
Mhm.
momentum to lock out, because
Then you
what
don't have to press out.
yeah, exactly. What I've seen with the rings or with the bar is you get to the top and then you kind of do this like strict press up, and it really blows up the triceps. So you notice how my feet kind of kick up. It's
Mhm.
almost like me doing a little bit of a kipping dip. It saved my triceps enough, I guess, but not anything too crazy. So this is the end of the 4th round for me. So reality has set in that finishing this workout is just out of reach, but we're going to see what we can accomplish
Mhm.
in this last minute and get as far as we can. So that was 7. And now we're into the 5th round here, which I actually think I held on for
I think you did too.
7 thrusters here. I was
Yeah.
like, well, if you pick this thing up, try not to put it down. Very, very effortful at this stage in the game. After going 4-3 for the first 4 rounds, the idea of finishing with 7 is aggressive.
Yeah.
But
This is the point where I realized I could get back to the bar. I had taken my knee sleeves off because I did not anticipate getting through all 7.
yeah,
So I started to time it out, and then I was like, "Oh, here we go!" And that's why you see
Yeah.
me run there because
there
I
you
wanted
go.
to get
And
in as
every
many
rep's
reps
going to
as
matter. So
possible, yeah.
that's really good, though, because that's going to give you 2, 3,
I think I got that 4th one too.
4. Yeah, so that's 4 reps
Yeah.
after 7 muscle ups. I got 1 muscle up in
Yeah.
around 5, so 164 is a total for me. In terms of execution, I actually was really happy with it. I don't
Mhm.
know where I would change anything.
Yeah.
The second half was going to be super effortful, so I knew I had to give myself a chance there. If I'm being honest, out of the 3, this one by far hurt the most. To me personally, based on
Yeah.
going through it, I really liked the first 2. I liked this one, but I thought this one induced the most pain for me.
Last week's was definitely worse for me,
Yeah.
but this week I didn't do as much work, so
Yeah.
that's probably why.
Another big thing we really want to emphasize that we talked about was warming up for
Mhm.
this workout. The last 2, you could get away with a lighter or an easier warm up. You know, some people are like, I'm just going to hop on the rower, pull the barbell off the floor, and I'll be okay. And I would agree, like last week's, because it's a long workout, you didn't have to maybe warm up as much. This week, because of the range of motion we're going
Mhm.
through with that full depth squat, opening up the shoulders for the press at the top, getting into these gymnastic pulls, you
Yeah.
really want to make sure your body temperature is warm. You want to make sure your core and your shoulders are warmed up. So you're going to want to focus a lot more on your warm up. And I would say probably 15 to 20 minutes of time dedicated to feeling ready. So at 3, 2, 1, you can step into those thrusters and whatever version of pull you're doing, your body's ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're holding up your body weight with just your shoulders, you gotta warm them up. Like it's just you can't just hop up there and expect it to be okay, even if you're jumping. Just because we really don't want to put that joint under too much stress, cold.
Yeah.
You definitely want to warm it up in a full range of motion.
Yeah, so definitely work with your coaches on having a great warm up and a great plan for how you want to strategize for this particular workout. We're very grateful. Myology will be hanging out with
Thank
us
goodness.
on Saturday, helping
I'm gonna be on
athletes
that table.
recover. Yeah, this one, full body experience, heart, lungs, legs, shoulders, the whole 9. Hopefully, after watching us, you can pick up a few tips on how you might want to attack 24.3 with your community. We're really grateful that folks have been watching and tuning
Yeah.
in for us as we've gotten a chance to work through these 3 tests, share some of our insights, and help the community have a great experience. So thanks all for tuning in, watching us as we've got through these workouts and listening to some of the tips we have.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it's over. Well, for me, and you're probably going to be doing some other things here, but
if this is any indication of what's to come, I think it was interesting that the community felt like the first 2 tests were, I don't want to say easy, but like more accessible. And then this one felt like that little bit of a slap in the face of like, we do some pretty hard things, and this is a hard thing that we do.
Yeah.
So this was a great opportunity for folks to showcase some of their fitness, practice some of the things they've been working on, and have some fun with their community. So for that, Chelsea and Brad, this is 24.3. Enjoy, good luck, and we'll see you on the leaderboard.
Bye.